In this lesson, we're going to take the email address that we received from the post form that's sent to our service on the server and save it in a Firestore database. The first step is to set up our Firestore database. Let's do that now. So we're going to go to a new browser tab, and we're going to search for Google App Engine Firestore. And we see a quick start on getting Firestore set up. Go ahead and click that, and here we are at the quick start, and it's the same as the other documents that we've gone through in these lessons, where it walks you through and has buttons for you to click on to get to where you need to go to get everything set up. So we can go to the project selector page and make sure that we select our application. And there's our projects. So we'll just select the one that we are going to set up Firestore on. And we'll just go ahead and pick this one for now. I've already set it up on the other one, so this will show you the process. So I've clicked on that project, and now I go to the Firestore viewer to go ahead and create the Firestore database. So we can pick native mode or data store mode. Data store mode is, there's different modes, and so the one we're going to actually pick is native, because we just want to save native to the database. Data store mode does different things, a little bit more advanced. We don't need that right now. So let's just go ahead and select native mode. And then we're going to go ahead and pick our region. I'm on the West Coast, so we're going to go ahead and pick Los Angeles. And I sped this up. Our database is now ready. And if we wanted to, we could manually start a collection here, and it would be like a database table, and we could start putting in data. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to the next step. So we've already set our location, and we've already clicked the database, so that's all set up. The next thing we need to do is set up authentication so we could actually connect to our database and put data in it. So we're going to want to go to the Create Service Account key page, and let's go ahead and do that now by clicking. Okay, and now on the Service Account key page, we're going to go ahead and select our project. And once we have our project selected, we're going to select Default Service Account. We're going to keep JSON the same, and then we're going to create this key. Now the key downloaded into a file, and that's what we're going to actually use. Let's go ahead and take a look at the key itself. So in the service account credentials, if we scroll down to the bottom, we'll see our service account has been created. And there's a fake email address that has the project ID and then the service account domain. And we can edit this to change the description if we want to. And then there's the key right there, but we're actually going to use the file on our local system. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the quick start and see what's next. All right, so we went to that page and we did these steps. I don't recall seeing the role list, so we'll just skip that. It looks like there's a little blue box down below here that means that it doesn't apply to us. And then we did step 5, which is the create. So then let's go ahead and continue on with the next steps. We're going to use an environment variable called Google App Engine Credentials. I'm going to set it to the path to that file that got downloaded. So let's go ahead and copy this. And then we'll head back to our terminal. And let's go ahead and export. And let's go ahead and see what this says now. So I actually just pasted it in, and it's going to say path if we actually echo this variable out. And to echo, it's $, and then the variable that we set. And we see it says path. Now that's not what we want. We actually want the path to the file we just downloaded. So let's go ahead and erase path. And I'm going to take the quotes off so that way it fills in, and then I'll put the quotes back. It's just a little trick to make it easier because I'm hitting tab and it's filling in the folders for me. All right, so now we've done that. And the next step, there's that, where we set the path. And then, let's see, we're going to add the server client library to our application. So in our app, we're using Maven, so it's an XML file. And we're going to copy these dependencies into that file. And this is to add the database. So the database is Google Cloud Firestore, the layer over the top of the database that we'll be using. So let's go into VS Code and let's open up our project folder. So there's our capture service project. And then we're going to navigate to the POM file, which is in the root folder right down at the bottom. And this is already generated for us. We're just adding to it. So Spring added all this stuff. So we're just going to paste it in. So it had a dependency management section, I believe. Yeah, it did. So we're just going to copy that. And we're going to paste it above our dependencies that are here because we're going to have to paste it in the right places. So dependency management is going to stay there. And then this dependencies we already have, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. And now we've got the Cloud Firestore sitting on top as a dependency, and then the dependency management section has the libraries, BOM, bill of materials. And there we go. So we'll save that. And what's next? Okay, and then we need to initialize the Firestore. So we're using Java, so this is where we actually add some code to our Java file. So pasted that in there, and then I'm using the tool, so it's doing a quick fix. So that actually just imported the Google credentials because now we have it in our Maven POM file, which allows that library to be there. Now here's our project ID. We're going to want to grab the project ID for our project. And it's actually email capture service 3. But let's go ahead and see how we get that. So there it is there, and that's the ID. So we can go to the dashboard and we'll be able to copy and paste it more easily. Maybe it's not the dashboard. So there's that. So okay, so we're just going to type it. There is a place where it's easy to copy. So let's just type it in. Okay, so that gives us our project, and it's going to set the credentials, and that credentials is going to look at the environment variable and use it there, pointed to that file that we downloaded, and pointed that variable at the environment variable. Okay, and so now the IDE is telling us that we have an exception we've got to throw, and then it nicely fills it in for us. And now it's saying that that function is no longer used, or never used. That's okay, because we're going to use it soon. So we'll just leave it like that. So we've got Firestore options, we've got the project set up, we've got the credentials pulling from our file, and then we're getting the service which we're going to call DB. So it's Firestore DB, which is sits over the top, and we don't actually need this variable, so let's just go ahead and return the service, which will just return the Firestore database. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add a collection to our database. All right, so back over in the App Engine, we're going to scroll down to Firestore and click on that. Then you'll notice our email capture service 3 is the project. So we just click on Start Collection and just give it a name. We're collecting emails, so let's just go ahead and call this Collection ID Emails. And then we'll go ahead and save, and that's going to add an empty record. So if we'll just delete that one because we really want the collection, we don't want an empty record. So now we've got an emails collection, and now we can use this. So now let's add a record to that collection. Okay, so we're scrolling through the quick start. There's a section here on how to add a document. So we're going to put data in here. So we could probably just copy and paste this one into our code. I don't recommend copy paste. It's good to go ahead and type until you get used to doing this. So we're going to go ahead and look at what's there and start typing it here. So that way we get used to what we're typing. Okay, so the ID is helping out, and it's saying, okay, set a variable, let's call it DB. And then we hit dot, and then here's all the functions that are inside of DB. And we're going to set the collection to emails. That's the collection we're going to save things in. And then we're going to go ahead and do a document. And we're going to give it a key name. So we've got a body that we're passing the email in. And we're going to go ahead and say we want the key because it's only going to be one email per record. We don't want any duplicates. So setting this document name to the email will make it so we only have one. So now we've got a document, and then we could go ahead and add to the document if we want to. So we're going to go ahead and set, and we'll just set it to the body, which the body contains our email as a map. And then we're going to go ahead and do a save in here. So we've got a future that writes the result. And let's call this data for the return type. And then with data, we're going to do a get on the result. And then we're going to get the update time, the time that the record was updated. And we've got another exception to throw. And then let's just go ahead and print this out. It's just to let us know that it actually went to the database. All right, and then we're still returning the body back as a string, a JSON string, with using the object mapper as we learned from the last lesson. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this, see what happens. Okay, so we got a record back, so that's good. Let's go check the database and see if our email's in there. And there it is. Thanks for watching.